Okay.
Hello, everyone. And I'm here today, joined with Judy. And we wanted to get together and really talk about what's going on in our lives and how that correlates to what's going on in the world, and how often what's going on in the world, whether we know it or not, does influence what's going on in our personal lives. And so, really, just to bridge those two things so we don't feel either isolated in a little bubble or like we're completely bombarded by world events and lose sight of our personal journey. So, hello, Judy. Thanks for being here. And so, what's up in your world right now? What's going on for you?
Wow. So, gosh, it's been an amazing few last weeks, right? Like the way the energy is expanding, and the relief that one feels with that. At the same time, you can always also feel this other stuff that comes up that's like ready to say bye bye, right? And you can notice if you happen to be attached to some of that, right? So it's a big opportunity. And so I've really noticed a lightening for me. It feels like, man, we have been waiting for this time forever, right? Really, like, thank God. Thank
Mm,
God, because we're finally at this place where we do have the choice of infinite possibilities, and
yes.
it's not nearly as difficult to make them as it used to be. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's in a like a very broad view of what I've been noticing and feeling. And certainly I've seen that coming through in the work that I'm doing with people. They're really able to zoom into an individual issue and then also like come out to a much more expansive view to get a whole other perspective on it. And that's helping that shift happen way more gracefully because they can see their place. They can see how their individual journey is contributing and also receiving from this global awakening that's taking place. So it makes it a lot more graceful because you're not alone. You're not alone in that.
Hmm. Which
Yeah.
is such a key right now. It's like we're not alone in this, and we're often way more aware than we give ourselves credit for, right? I know, say for me that leading up to the U.S. election, so the day before, so that Tuesday, it was like through the day I had a pounding headache, and I don't get headaches. Like maybe I got one like a bunch of years ago, one day, but it was very specific to what was going on then. And so it's just like, wow, I'm perceiving all this mental activity, all this mental manipulation of the mental field. And so I just had to ask questions and keep walking. And then shortly after that, there was almost like I could feel my throat. And then so this week I've been like having some interesting things with my voice. And so I'm like,
Ah,
okay, what is this?
yeah.
And so just being in the question with all of it and going, okay, what am I aware of? What am I up to? And how am I participating? How can I contribute to this and to something different? I know the last couple of days, yesterday was better. The day before I woke up with a lot of heaviness on me. It
Mm,
almost felt like just everything was kind of collapsing in, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Because I know it's not mine, right? There isn't like, oh, well, this happened this week, or like I don't have any events that would lead me to feel that way. So even my mind can't say, oh, it was because of that. That's why I'm feeling heavy or like weighed down today. It's like I know instantaneously that, okay, I'm aware of something,
yeah.
and then throughout the day, what can I be or do to change this, to contribute to this heaviness leaving, right? This
Yeah.
whatever is on me, like to give myself the space and to claim my choice to be here. And okay,
Yeah.
what can I be or do, yeah, to get this energy moving?
I'm getting this visual as you're saying that of like as you're literally waking up and your awareness of what the body is sensing and everything is sensing around it, you have choice right there. You're gonna buy that that's you and that's what's going on for you, or just have an awareness of, oh, that's what a lot of people in the collective are going through at the moment. So I can either like jump into that cesspool of heaviness, or I can just go, oh, what else is possible here? Because as we create this new way of being, as we create more space for this new earth, this new way, this new life to birth itself on earth right through us, we just go, is that working anymore? Like, is that what I'm going to keep choosing every morning when I wake up? Or every time I feel something that's poopy, I'm going to just immediately assume that it's me or mine and start working through it, like, and go into therapy and stuff like that? Or am I going to just go, that's an energy I'm sensing, and isn't that interesting? I can choose what I can choose. I can literally actually choose what I'm going to do, what I'm going to be in relationship with that energy. I'm either going to wear it, or I'm just going to, from afar, notice it and say, yeah, that's interesting how many of us used to choose that, and how many of us are no longer choosing it, right? How many of us are not going to play that heavy game anymore, right? We're going to play that light game. How much better can it get? How much lighter can it feel? Yeah. But you have to be aware of the heavy in order to choose something different, right? If you're not aware of it, you don't know if you're choosing it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness.
Absolutely. Like, and what's been coming in is another possibility of just what to be and do with it. Because there can be a tendency to almost just want to get it out, right? Like, turn a sender, get out, or whatever that is. And instead it's going, okay, so what can I be or do with this? What is this? First, thanking my body for giving me awareness. And if I were to take a step back, if I were to just be a witness of all of this, what's my read right now on everyone I'm connected to, the world? What is my current read? Okay, so say the other day, it would be like just the sense of exhaustion and unable to move forward, not really enough energy to take new steps. Yeah. More just wanting to sleep, but not able to sleep. So you're awake. So what are you going to do with that time, or how are you going to look after you? So that was, say, my read on the collective. So rather than this is my experience, this is my read, okay, what can I be or do to contribute to this changing first in my life today, right? I can go to the gym, I can go, say, to a coffee shop and read, I can meet with a friend, I can, have some conversations. So whatever I choose to create the change in my life in regards to that energy, and then how can I contribute to this changing in a bigger arena, right? So acknowledging that everything that's showing up in my experience is something that I in some way can contribute to, right? So
you're noticing it, that means you have awareness of it, which means you literally, if you choose, you can actually be the antidote to that very thing that you're noticing. Because if you can't really be the antidote to something that you aren't aware of. So I find people sometimes, and I certainly remember when I used to do this with great regularity, you have this great quest to be more aware, right? And you're on this journey and you're clearing this and you're digging in and family patterns and DNA, right? And you're doing it, you're doing the work, right? And it's working. And then you get to this place and where you start to become aware. You do actually start to become aware, not just of this little thing I need to change, but that clears the pathway for you to look around the world and go like, oh my gosh, I do see. And sometimes the things that you see are very confronting. And then it makes you want to just go, oh, this is terrible, or whatever, or curl up again, or just feel defeated, or, oh gosh, there's terrible things happening in the world, or there's that person is, I'm aware that person is stuck in something, or that they're having a negative thought even about me or something. You can become aware of a lot of stuff. And then it's like, whoa, what do I do with that? Right? But think about what it felt like when you weren't willing to be aware of those things, and you were bumbling through this thing we call life, not knowing that. And the only way you found out was when you tripped and fell into it or became tangled in it. But now, because you can see it, you can decide, what am I going to do? You can choose. You have a choice. I see that sitting there on the sidewalk, that thing that's kind of yucky, maybe a pile of dog poo, right? And am I gonna pretend I don't see it and then step in it and then wonder why I smell like that? Or am I gonna look at it and go, oh, I'm so glad I can see that, so now I can walk around it, right?
Or are you gonna be like, why is this here? How did this get into my experience? How did I line up with dog poo on the sidewalk?
My dog,
I should self-examine.
Law of attraction, am I a pile of dog shit? And that's really what the universe is trying to tell me, right? Like, what? Let's just never mind that anymore. That's just such a silly misunderstanding. It's like taking massive, infinite capacity that we have and reducing it down to a very misapplied and misunderstood law of attraction. And when we go to laws, you're in a no choice universe. The only conclusion you can come to is that you're a pile of dog shit, and that's not true. So then what? Then you have to look for a more expansive explanation, and what else is possible, right? But if you have this conclusionary point of view and you spot dog poo, you have no choice but to conclude that that's what you are as well. So guess what? We don't want to see that. So then we stop seeing the dog poo, we just step in it. Right?
Right. Instead of just, oh, I'm aware. Look, I'm aware. And I can now choose to walk around, or I can choose to get a little baggie and pick it up so other people don't step in it. Whatever. You have all these
All these
choices.
choices, right? Yeah. You can say, oh, hey, I got a poo bag right in my pocket. I'll just grab that, so I don't step in it or other people don't step in it. Or you can just say, hey, I don't even have a dog, so that's not even actually mine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you're aware it's your neighbor's dog, so you might knock on the door and just say, oh, your dog kind of pooped over on my yard over here. Would you mind grabbing that? Oh, okay, because maybe they weren't aware of that. Or maybe they're totally aware and they don't care, and then now you're aware of that. Now you can go, okay, maybe I don't like that they don't care that their dog keeps pooping on my lawn, but at least I'm aware that they don't care, as opposed to, I don't want to know that people don't care about that.
Yeah, and how much more ease when we just are willing to be aware, right? See, I've known people over the years who were told to just see the good in people, and it's all about seeing the good in people. So then they exclude everything else, and then one day that person does something awful, and then they're like, how could they? They're such a good person. How could they hurt me in this way? You weren't willing to be aware of all of them.
All of them.
Just the good, because you decided that's the right and nice thing to do.
Yeah, and I can speak from personal experience, direct, like, oh my God. Yeah, so I did that. I had this fundamental belief that all people were good. Fundamental. We all know where that gets us, right? Like, that's a complete conclusion. And so even when I saw them doing things that weren't kind, weren't nice, and sometimes were evil, I would get this intuitive hit that that person's not a nice person, or that isn't a good thing to be doing. Like, I could see I would immediately, before it was even in their, brought to their attention, if it was even going to be, I would already have made their excuse up for them as to what was making them act like that. Because I could see that too. I could see what they were doing. I could see that deep down there was this sort of wounded spirit who'd been traumatized on some level at some point, so that they built up these layers of whatever to interface with the world, so they were completely numb to the fact that they were having that effect. I could see all that, so I would just make the excuse up and get a little closer to them anyway, and then I'd be surprised when they clobbered me too, right? Completely surprised, like, what? But I can see you. I can see how beautiful you are. But I wasn't willing to see that those patterns weren't anywhere near shifting, and so they're still going to keep acting that way until one day when they don't. And that could be tomorrow. It could be in 10 years, 20 years, maybe a couple more lifetimes. But the point is, it's one thing to see a certain thing. It's another thing to assume that person wants the shift as much as you do in that moment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And then the other thing too, when we talk about, that bridge of the personal to the bigger picture, say if someone's being that, if we take the direct law of attraction, everything is a reflection of me, we'll go, okay, what in me is angry and suppressed? What in me wants to act out and hurt people? And then we go in this, like, go within, try to clear you, and then they'll change. So how much control is that? Instead of just going, wow, I'm aware of all these things. I have a choice in how I respond to that. That is my choice, is in my response. Do I choose to have this in my life? You're aware of whether they're willing to change it or not, and you can navigate accordingly. But if we buy this notion that everything we see is a reflection of what is within us, then we start going to work within, trying to change something in us so that the reflection looks better. And I totally bought that for a time, but it created this like inward focus that wasn't allowing me to really participate in a big way, because I was so busy going within and trying to change everything that created that reflection.
Yeah, this perpetual state of like personal work or personal development or anything like that, instead of this awareness of the expansion. The more you expand, the more you become aware of.
Yes.
And the more you become aware of, and some of the stuff that you start becoming aware of, it may challenge some of the other patterns that are now ready to clear. So from my journey, what I've noticed is that as soon as I crave more spiritual maturity, I will actually notice a bunch of things that I wasn't able to see when I was a little less spiritually mature. it really wasn't something I would have handled well, because it would have pushed a whole bunch of buttons in me. So as soon as that expansion starts happening, you're like, whoa, and you're aware, like, oh man, that where a person might be operating from, and you're like, holy smokes. But you've then got the tools to look at that and say, yeah, that's something that previously would have frightened me, because I would have assumed that I don't have the talents, abilities, or skills to actually see that and then navigate life knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much harder to navigate life not knowing that. So much harder, because
Yeah.
flying blind. I'd rather fly with my eyes wide open and see the obstacle course and be able to navigate it, rather than just fly blind and cross my fingers and hope that I make out all right, right? You know what I mean? Which is what I was doing when I, for many years, didn't know I was doing that, but that's, you look back and you're like, whoa, that was pretty good. So, and you made out okay, but now it just keeps getting better. You made out okay because every time you would crash into something, you did have the ability to then like repair yourself and keep going, and repair yourself and keep going. But are we done with that yet? Are we done with like knowing that no matter what happens, my spirit's never broken, or no matter what, I can get through this and overcome it? Like, why do we need to keep overcoming? Like, what are we ready for that pattern to shift? Instead, we say, eyes wide open, I'm willing to see whatever is required for me to see to navigate to where I'm going on this beautiful journey. And I don't need to crash and burn to learn. I don't need to do that anymore. I already did that. I know that I got some value out of it, but that's not the only way to learn through a crash and burn. You can actually learn through inspiration, like you're inspired to move in a certain direction, as opposed to, I have to, like, I'm going to make myself move because I'm in so much pain right here. I can't stand it anymore. Right? So
yeah.
pain and suffering is a motivator, but does it have to be our only one? Right? Does it have to be the only one that we're working from?
Yeah, and I know I became aware of, say, in this last year, really, of where pain and suffering was the predominant pathway of growth. We grow and learn the most through pain and suffering. So with that in place, when someone wants to grow more, they'll actually create more pain and suffering to be the impetus for further growth. And I said, okay, well, how else can we choose to grow? And I said, if there's a space of relaxation in the body, and this sense of love and connection to intuition, and it's like, how much more creativity can you call in, and how much can you grow through the expression of creativity? Through, like, how relaxed and efficient can you be, right? How much can your physiology be relaxed while you're participating in the world, while you're being creative, while you're facilitating the change of everything, and
that's right,
all of that. So there's these new pathways we can institute. Say, how much can you learn and grow through joy and pleasure, right? How much love are you willing to receive? Because often we have a certain amount that is comfortable in terms of the love we can receive. And then there's like, oh, that's more than my parents ever gave me. Better shut that down, instead of like, open up, question everything. Did they really love you? Were they capable of it? Okay, well, this person is more capable than they were. Okay, can I receive that? Can I question everything?
Right? Sometimes that person, right, is actually like you.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about it. What if you're able to receive more love than anyone you know?
Yes.
Would you be willing to actually be the person to give yourself that? Or do you have to wait till anybody else around you is prepared to be that, until they get there and whatever? What if you just gave that to yourself nonstop, and you were constantly in that state of flow and love for yourself, no longer in a suspended state of animation, waiting for somebody else to show up who could give you the love that you're looking for? What if it was, right? What stops that from happening, right?
Yeah.
We've definitely felt glimpses of that from other people before, and we know that feels really good. So we might even want to like over associate with that person who had that capacity. And maybe they had that capacity full stop. Maybe in that moment they had an opening moment, and you felt that was like, whoa, and you actually think that they're the source of that. However, you're the one that had the capacity to feel it. You had, like, if you wouldn't have been open, you would never have felt that. It would have just bounced right off this facade that you were putting up in front of it instead, right? So if you're feeling it, that's because also that's you, right? That's what you're actually feeling is your capacity to be you and acknowledge you in an awakened state. And who doesn't want that all the time, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. The willingness to receive it and have it acknowledged, you as the source of it. And then you can receive it, quote, through others or from others, but we're not identifying them as the source of it, which keeps us in the state of bondage or need or desire to manipulate behaviors so that we get them in the most loving position so they'll direct the most love to us. Then we're locked in that game that we played through our entire childhood.
It is the game. And everyone says, I don't want to play games anymore. Well, you could stop. Stop trying to play games and manipulate them to do something that you could be doing for yourself. You could just be doing it. Like, it's like, to me, it's become so pragmatic that it's like me asking you, Christine, would you come over every day and brush my teeth for me?
Right?
No? Could you do that? Because, like, I know I could do it, but I don't want to. Why don't you want to, Judy? You know? And I'd have to come up with a pretty good reason. I don't know. I'm just too lazy. I don't want to lift it to my. I just don't feel like it anymore.
Right. Or it'd be more special if you did it.
Yeah. Oh.
It would prove how much I mean to you and you mean to me and all of that.
And if you really love me, you would brush my teeth.
Right. Yeah.
Like, ew. It's kind of like, did you just? Yeah, you did. Right? So when you really actually look at that, there almost is like this sticky, icky grossness to it, where it's like, are you actually insinuating that you need someone to like wipe your bum and brush your teeth and love you because you're not willing to do it? You're not willing to actually just like take care of yourself. We're talking about really hygiene, right? This is a taking care of you, looking after you, and being and anchoring that loving kindness in, through, and around your life and your body and into the world, because that's what you want. You want clean teeth, brush them, right? You want a clean body, have a shower, bathe, do what you need to do. You want love in your life, bring it in, be that. Be exactly what you want to be, right? Don't leave yourself wanting it from somewhere else. Literally just let that loving energy come in and have its way with you, and you'll find all those things just start sort of happening. But we're waiting for like, oh, when that happens, then I'll feel loving, or then I'll be willing to do this or that. How about you just start doing it, and all of a sudden everything just gets easier, because the love is that lubricant that makes everything else happen.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of that thing, if you look to the environment, oh, well, there's not much love here. Well, are you willing to put it there? Right? If you're not putting it there, it's not going to be there. Like, you are the one to put it there. Anything you're aware of where it's like, well, there's not enough kindness here. There's not enough love here. Well, are you willing to be the loving kindness here? Because that's your contribution to it existing. But if you're refusing to gift it because it's not there and it should be there,
right? Same
who
thing.
does that benefit?
Brilliant way of saying it. Yeah. Oh, there's no kindness here. I can't be here. It's like, sweetheart, that's why you're there. Be kind. Right? That's why you're there.
You can be that. You can be what is not yet here.
Yes.
Right? And that is your gift to the world. But we're waiting for kind of the big download that is like, my life purpose is A, B, C, and it's going to come in this like, and then every day you're going to be.
It's also, my life purpose is what? To like write a book. No, your life purpose is not to write a book. Although while you're here being you, a book might come out of you.
Yeah.
If your life purpose is that small, I mean, you could have done that by age 15 and been out of here.
Right.
Like, you don't need to stick around if that was your entire life purpose, right?
Yeah.
So that to reduce your life purpose to something so tiny, when literally, I mean, you can be purposeful in every single second that you are here in a body. You're literally, your life purpose is oozing out of your pores in every minute. So what is it that's oozing out of your pores, right?
Yeah.
Is it love, or is it, will you please give me love? Is it, I'm going to be love, whatever it takes. I'm going to be so loving to me and to those around me, whatever that looks like. And sometimes it looks like giving someone a hug, and sometimes it looks like, can you please give me some space? Like, it's we're not attached to what that looks like, but are you willing to actually be that in every moment, as opposed to being whatever you need to do to get that book written, right? Do you know what I mean? Because then that's like, and you could actually be hurting and damaging people along the way, but you're so intent, I've got to write this book. And so
this is my purpose.
Right? This is my purpose. So even if I'm being an asshole while I'm doing it, I'm just going to like, I got to write this book. And you put these blinders on, and then you don't see that you're like a bull in a china shop, crashing through your entire life, or parts of it, crashing through like breaking China, people are getting out of your way, and you're like, whoa, I don't understand why I'm having relationship problems. It's like, well, how are you showing up each day to the world? Like, are you so focused on your goal that you're not even noticing the quality of energy that you're bringing into your life every moment, every day? And it's not like it's a light switch where it's like, oh, I've perfected it, but it's something to keep in mind and keep moving towards and aspiring to be and grow and expand in that awareness of self, awareness of the world around you and how you contribute to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I see is so beautiful is we're coming out of it's either about me or it's about everyone else, that either or universe, right? It's all about me and what I need to do for me. And my life's purpose is to write a book. So I need all of you to help me do what's so important to me.
Oh, yes.
Or what's going on in you is just a reflection of me. So I'm not going to attend to you and offer loving kindness. I'm just going to go within and try to figure out why I created you in my life. It's like attend to everything in your life by being you, bringing what's missing, being the one that's offering what's not yet in the environment, which is that loving kindness or that power or that sense of clarity or the willingness to be honest. Whatever's missing, you're the one to bring it there.
Yeah, for sure. You know that old saying that just popped in my head, it's such a silly expression, but of course it's always nice to have these things fly in for like a little bit of levity and humor as we're going through this, is that that funny saying when you were kids, whoever smelt it dealt it.
Right.
Well, it's so not like that. It's like just because you can smell dog poo doesn't mean you are. It just means you have the capacity to see it so that you can make a choice about how you're going to be with it. And same thing in the world. If you see there's no kindness, you don't have to bring it. You don't.
No.
But what sort of world would you like to live in? One that smells of unkindness, or would you like to spray that perfume around because you know the effect that it can have, right?
Yeah, and really shifting from the moment we make something a necessity, right? Then it becomes obligatory. Then it becomes, well, I have to be kind. That's my job and mission in the world. And then we take away our choice, and then we feel resentful, energetically, emotionally, whatever. Instead of like, I have the choice to be that. I have the choice to bring that. And if we're in that action of choice, rather than this is a necessity and I have to be this because no one else is willing to, and then maybe for a while we'll get a bit of a high off it, but it won't be sustainable or fun long term.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, what can I choose to be or do that would be joyful or fun for me to contribute, and allowing however much variety in that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, this has been a super awesome conversation.
Yes.
So what I'm excited about is the expansiveness of the conversation that's happening not only between me and myself, but between you and I, as we've been exploring these things for a little while now, and then now just opening that conversation up further to share with others and invite others into that conversation in whatever way feels good and makes sense for them, and just to kind of get a little bit of an idea like what in the world is going on, right? In my world, in the greater world, in your world. And so, I'm just really grateful to have that awareness and capacity to kind of dispel some of those myths about what can and can't be, and what we are and aren't doing on Earth here, and what shape can we change things into? What do we want in the world? So when we say, hey, what in the world's going on here, I guess we get to choose. We literally get to choose the shape that it's taking, and the world that we want to live in day to day, and weaving that into the future. What do we want that to look like?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And again, yes, bridging the personal with the bigger picture, acknowledging our level of participation in all of this, and releasing the myths of you just have to go within, or they're all a reflection of you, to really, you're being you. You're here in the world. What can you offer that's not yet here that you can see is a possibility, and beginning there, so we reclaim that sense of agency and choice to really be here. And the more we're bringing in, the more we feel what we're giving rather than what's missing. So thank you for joining me in this call, and I wonder where we can go from here and what else we can shed light on and bring more light and awareness and love to accelerate our growth and really create even more of that joy of living. So
And thanks to
thank you.
everyone who will be listening to this as well as we share it out. Because Christine and I both work in the world of timelessness. So we already understand fully that this conversation's already been had for anyone who is going to tap into it at any point in time, because it's their awareness is what's also in our awareness right now. So
Totally.
everything that is being addressed here, although it looks like it's two women having a conversation, we're just showing up as representatives of our collective consciousness, having a conscious conversation about things that many, many, many people are feeling and becoming aware of more and more. What we've noticed is that by speaking it out loud and really showing up to it, it does start to dispel a lot of the myths we've been under, and things start to get much more clear. We get a lot more spiritual clarity, emotional clarity, mental clarity, just literally clarity, full stop. So that makes our journey forward and the next steps and all those good things a lot more clear as they show up. So join us next time.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.